Welcome back to Unbroken Voices. I'm Sydney Brown, and today we sit with chapters 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of Unbroken Promise. These pages hold the weight, the exhilarating terror of wanting connection after loss, the ghosts that linger in old spaces, the risk of letting softness return, the pull of memory that can trap or free us, and the profound fear of being truly known, edges and all. This is the heart of the story, not rushing to healing, but lingering in the honest ache long enough to feel it shift. Let's read from the book itself, then reflect together. If these words meet you in your own tender places, know you're not alone. If y'all are ready, let's begin. Welcome back. I hope you're ready for Chapter 3, The Weight of Wanting, where desire stirs after years of quiet. I did not sleep that night, not because of nightmares, but because something inside me had begun to stir, something I had not felt in years. It was not just an attraction. It was the terrifying, exhilarating ache of wanting connection, wanting to be seen, wanting to believe that, just maybe, I could be loved again. I sat in my studio at 3 a.m. staring at a blank canvas. The silence was thick, broken only by the hum of the radiator and the occasional creak of the floorboards beneath me. I dipped my brush into a warm amber hue and let it bleed across the surface. It was not sorrowful. It was not longing. It was something softer, like the first breath after a panic attack, or the moment you realize the storm has passed. As the sun rose, I found myself painting not pain but possibility. A pair of hands reaching not out of desperation but in invitation. Later that morning, I met her at the cafe again. We talked about everything, even our favorite books, childhood fears, the way grief can make you forget your own name. I told her about the panic attacks. I used to hide behind my art, and she did not flinch. She just listened like my words were sacred. But beneath the warmth, I felt the tremor of fear. What if this were temporary? What if she saw the cracks in me and decided they were too deep to fill? That night, I stood in front of the canvas I had painted at dawn. I added a final stroke, a thin line of gold between the hands, a thread of connection, a symbol of hope. And for the first time in a long time, I wanted to find out. And that was enough. Those words land heavy, because wanting feels risky after breakage, but it's also a live proof the heart still reaches. If this chapter echoes your own stirrings, lean into it. It's not weakness, it's awakening. That was enough. It's small, but seismic. Wanting after loss feels dangerous because it means opening to possible pain again. Yet it's also proof that the heart still has color left to mix. If this ache feels familiar, you're not broken for feeling it. You're alive. Let's take a little break and enjoy a guitar solo. Welcome back. Let's get into Chapter 5, The Ghosts We Keep, Facing What We've Left Behind. I had not walked past the old studio in over a year. Inside, the air was stale but familiar. Memories came in waves. The night Isabel first visited, her laughter echoing against the brick walls. The morning I found her gone, a note folded neatly beside a half-finished sketch. Later that evening, I met Isabel at the cafe. She noticed the shift. You went back, she said quietly. But grief does not banish. It waits, I said. It waits, she echoed, but it also teaches. That night, I returned to my current studio and pulled out a fresh canvas. I painted a doorway cracked and weathered, but it was open. It was not a portrait of healing. It was a portrait of honesty, and for the first time I did not paint to forget. I painted to remember and to forgive. We all know that grief waits, but it teaches. That doorway isn't a grand escape, it's quiet permission to look back without staying. If old ghosts still whisper to you, this chapter reminds us, facing them can soften the edges. Ghosts teach when we stop running. This doorway isn't a fix, it's permission to look back without staying trapped. Many readers tell me this chapter gave them the courage to revisit their own old studios. Yours might be waiting too. Let's take a break and enjoy another piece of something amazing. Welcome back. I hope you will enjoy Chapter 6, The Risk of Softness, Reclaiming What Was Stolen. I have always believed that love, when it leaves, takes more than just the person. It steals your softness. And now, with her back in my orbit, I found myself standing at the edge of something tender and terrifying. Before I slept, I wrote in my journal, softness is not weakness. It is the courage to stay open when you have been broken. As if I was ever going to love again. Not just Isabel, but life itself. I had to risk being soft. I had to risk being seen. Softness is courage. That line keeps resonating with readers. After being broken, choosing openness is defiant. It's not about never hurting again. It's about refusing to let fear win forever. Softness after breakage isn't naive, it's defiant. That journal line keeps showing up in messages from readers. It's a quiet rebellion, choosing openness even when the world has taught you to close. Let's take a break and enjoy some music. Welcome back. It's time for us to get into Chapter 7, The Shape of Memory, Reframing the Past. I used to think nostalgia was a kind of mercy, a soft filter over the jagged edges of the past. But lately it felt more like a trap. Memory isn't meant to be a mirror, she said. It is meant to be a doorway. You can walk through it, but you do not have to stay. Before I slept, I wrote in my journal, some memories are meant to be honored, not relived. I can love who I was without losing who I am. And for the first time in a long time, I felt ready to walk through the doorway and into whatever waited beyond. Memory is doorway, not mirror. Honoring without reliving. That simple shift frees us to move forward. If the past has felt like a weight, perhaps it's time to see the opening. Honoring without reliving. That shift changes everything. It lets the past inform us without imprisoning us. If memory has felt heavy for you, maybe it's time to see the doorway. Chapter 8 is next. Let's enjoy some music before we get into this chapter. Welcome back. We made it to Chapter 8, The Fear of Being Known, the deepest vulnerability. The progression builds to layers peel, panic attacks shared, regrets are voiced. The fear surges. Being known means risking rejection, but also the chance to be accepted wholly. Being known is the greatest risk because I might have to stay with all my sharp edges and learn to love them too. This fear is the turning point. Yet in being known, the protagonist glimpses redemption. Not perfection, but honest acceptance. It's terrifying, but it's where the promise begins to mend. Unbroken Promise is available on Amazon, Kindle, free with unlimited or paperback. Grab it and let these words meet you where you are. You can listen to me on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, audio only, Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon Music/Audible. Search Unbroken Voices or follow me on X at Unbroken Promise 2 for updates and links. Share on X at Unbroken Promise 2 which chapter stirred you most. Your stories keep this conversation alive. Thanks for joining me in these shadowed, hopeful spaces. Next time we'll lean into intimacy's pull and forgiveness's quiet alchemy. your ache, your ghosts, your softness there, all part of the masterpiece unfolding. Keep holding the promise gently. I'm Sidney Brown. Take care of your heart.